Have you ever considered what are the best times to even go to Disney? Here are a few tips to get you started on picking the ideal time to travel to Disney. Tip number 1 is to avoid all holidays. If you're a solo traveler, this one's especially for you. Avoiding the holiday Disney crowd, especially in November and December, means shorter lines and less traffic. For parents, this can be a bit tricky since taking your children to Disney World sounds like the best gift ever. The only issue is every other mom and dad has the same exact idea. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't take your kids to Disney for Christmas season or any other holiday for that matter. It just means you'll need to be prepared for a lot of company. And I mean a lot of company. Tip number 2 is to avoid peak seasons. The winter season, Christmas and Thanksgiving breaks especially, as well as spring break and the general summer season are all pretty popular times for the parks. If you don't mind long lines and you feel welcomed in large crowds, this may not be a deal breaker for you. Otherwise, I recommend checking out the chart over at ThemeParkHipster to compare the months of the year by seasonal weather and crowd size. Tip number 3 is to know what are the best times to go to Disney. You'll notice that April has crowd sizes ranging from low to moderate, while March has crowd sizes ranging from moderate to high, mostly due to the influx of spring breakers. So what are the actual best times to visit Disney? The months of January, February. These months are closely followed by May, September, and October as still pretty decent visiting times. But the worst times to visit Disney are June, July, and December, especially since December is typically a very festive time for the theme parks. When you're thinking about how to do Disney parks and when to come, you're gonna always have to consider Florida's weather. Florida is mostly filled with perfect weather. However, there are moments when I question my sanity of living here. Summertime in Florida is like no other state, especially for theme park goers. If you're a resident of an area that experiences all your 4 seasons with mild summers, then you will definitely be thrown off by the hot, humid, indescribable weather that Florida is known for. You'll want to be prepared for surviving the Disney heat. Now we're gonna go through each month. January. January has gorgeous weather with temperatures around 70 degrees Fahrenheit and lower crowd levels, which makes this month a top month to visit the parks. Overall, late January is one of my favorite times to visit the Disney parks. These are some January events to keep in mind while you're preparing. You have the Epcot International Festival of the Arts. You have New Year's Day fireworks at the Magic Kingdom, Epcot. It's also Walt Disney World Marathon weekend in January. Holidays to avoid in January, there's only one, and that is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Up next is February. February is still a slow month with mild weather, and it's usually better than January in regards to crowd level. Some of the events that you want to keep in mind for February is the Disney's Princess Half Marathon weekend. In February, these are some holidays that you're going to want to avoid. They are President's Day and Valentine's Day. And yeah, you're like, President's Day and Valentine's Day, who's there? Everyone, trust me. Up next is March. In March, temperatures are starting to warm up, but they're still manageable. Park attendance begins to pick up this month, but it's not as bad as the summer months. Here are some March events to keep in mind. You have the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. Sometimes Easter falls into March, and some of the local counties go on spring break, so this can swell park attendance. Up next is April. In April, temperatures continue to rise, peaking around mid-80s during the month. The crowd level is still mild to moderate due to the last of the spring breakers. Some of the events that take place in April are Earth Day at Animal Kingdom, and you still have the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival going on. Some holidays that you're going to want to avoid, or just days in general that you're going to want to avoid in April, are any kind of spring break days and Easter if it falls in April. Up next is May. In May, the season of thunderstorms and downpours start. Not to mention the introduction of the torturous Florida humidity and heat, peaking in the 90-degree Fahrenheit range. Crowds are usually moderate during this time since it's the month prior to theme park tourist season. Some May events that I want to mention is the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival, and a holiday to keep in mind during May is Memorial Day. Now we are heading to June. This is the month to have your patience ready as the tourist season kicks up into full gear, along with that never-ending Florida sun rays and constant rainy days. It's during this time that water, sunscreen, sunglasses, and an umbrella are all needed in your theme park bag. There are also days that you want to avoid, like mid-June to the end of June, which is when most of the time kids are released for summer. Now we are in July, and this is one of the busiest times at Walt Disney World. Not only are most kids out of school, you have to deal with one of the major holidays in America, which is Independence Day. The parks are open much longer during July, but you still have to fight the crowds and the unforgiving Florida sun. Some of the events that happen in July, as mentioned, you have the 4th of July fireworks and celebrations at the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and the days to avoid, which is basically the Independence Day in July. We are in August. Believe it or not, by August, temperatures are still rising in Florida, which makes you feel miserable being outside. The crowd level is still heavy, with a dip coming towards the end of the month as kids head back to school. Some of the events that take place in August are Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. Some of the days that you want to avoid in August are the first 2 weeks of the month and the opening weekend of Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. On to September. In the early part of September, lines begin to die down. The weather in September is still the same as August, so I don't care what anybody tell you, it's still crazy in September. Plus, it can also be a peak month for hurricane season. Some of the events that happen during September are also the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. The holiday to avoid in September is Labor Day. Now we are on to October. During the month of October, the Florida weather starts to cooperate. Well, slightly. Days may start off cool in the mid-60s and end up pretty warm in the upper 80s. This is one of the best times to book a trip to Walt Disney World. You'll be able to see all of the fall decor lining the famous streets of Main Street, USA, and the Magic Kingdom theme park. The crowd levels tend to pick up mid to late October as everyone gets in their quick Epcot Food and Wine Festival visits and their Mickey Not So Scary Halloween Party. Some of the holidays to avoid in October is, of course, Halloween. It's going to be very busy, and most likely Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party will be sold out. Up next, November. November is my favorite time to visit the Disney parks. The weather is absolutely gorgeous in Florida. Perfect mild days complete with cool evenings are the ideal formula for an amazing theme park day. And not to mention, November is my birthday month. Here are some November events to take into consideration. You have Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, and Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend. Days to avoid is the week of Thanksgiving. Just don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. We are finally at December. December and the magical Walt Disney World Resort is the ideal time to visit the parks. Only problem is that everyone wants the same enchanting experience for the holidays. The parks are decked out in holiday cheer, and the Florida weather is oh so dear. If you must attend in December, then I recommend coming during the first 2 weeks of the month, as these dates are still fairly quiet at the parks. Some of the events that take place in December are Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, Epcot International Festival of the Holidays, Holidays at Disney Springs, Hollywood Studios, and Resort Hotel holiday decorations. Some of the days to avoid in December are the last 2 weeks of December, Christmas Eve and Christmas, New Year's Eve, and of course that goes into New Year's Day. Even with this guide, sometimes running into a sea of visitors is just unavoidable. I just really want to share with you everything I learned, all these little hacks and tricks. I want you to be able to know them too. That way, when you go to Disney, you have a spectacular time, no matter how crowded it is. And until next time, happy park hopping hipsters.